want to welcome you all to the second edition of our CTO compensation report in partnership with our wonderful friends at CTO Craft. I'm absolutely delighted to be sharing insights on this topic. In my role, compensation data and benchmarking remain the number one request from both the network and from clients. And we, as a business, we are fundamentally committed to bringing greater transparency to the topic. I think the most encouraging feedback that we got from last year's report was from the network itself. A number of people were able to leverage the report as a negotiation tool to ensure their packages were the right size for their experience and their skill set. And that, for me, is a huge win. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Henry Draper, and I'm the managing partner of Albany. A lot of you will know Albany as a technology and product executive search business. And yes, we are. We've made over 350 CTO, VP of engineering, CPO, and VP product hires for some of the most exciting venture capital backed and private equity backed companies across Europe. But over the last few years, we've evolved. We've evolved to help customers, clients solve technology and product challenges at every single level. Our interim and advisory practice provides tech and product leadership at a fund level in order to support funds in adding value to their portfolio. Our Albany growth business, which a lot of you may know about already, supports CTOs and VPs of engineering in growing their teams. And that's from head of level down to individual contribution level. So what are we going to cover? We're going to cover compensation and what that looks like right now in light of dramatically shifting investment landscapes. We're going to look at salary trends across the region, working environments, demographics, size, stage of company, and more. We're going to look at insights into what motivates technology leaders in their career and what you should focus on to retain your top talent. And of course, we'll look at Albany's outlook for the year to come. This is a sample of a much more detailed report, which will be available to you on the 9th of May. There's also quite a lot of data in this report, so please feel free to pause me at any time and focus on the detail, the data that's important to you. Having data from last year's report has given us a really unique opportunity to identify what has changed. We found that 44% of respondents work for businesses that underwent layoffs last year. And it comes as no surprise that VC-backed employers were the most affected. But we did see this trend exist across the board. There's continued investment uncertainty, and raising a Series A is as hard today as it has been since 2018. There's been rising global inflation at almost 4% year on year, so the differences in salary are greater than they may seem. Valuations have dropped, and we've seen this a lot, and that's had a huge impact on long-term incentive plans, and exit opportunities are still on pause across Europe. The tech reset has sparked investors to reduce risk and place increasing emphasis on efficiency, optimization over hypergrowth. Let's look at the year-on-year comparisons in a bit more detail. When comparing base salary differences between 2023 and 2024, we've seen a 3.3% drop in venture capital, 12% drop in private equity, although this could be reflective of the sample size differences across PE spectrum. Pretty much no change in bootstrapped, and an increase in publicly listed settings. When we look at respondent demographics, I'm really pleased to say actually that we had 520 respondents this year. And I want to thank absolutely everybody that entrusted us with their data. This has given us almost 13,000 data points, which is quite remarkable. Compared to 2023, there was greater diversification geographically. Significantly, there was a decrease of 8% of UK-based respondents and an increase by 11% of those based in Western Europe. When looking at respondent demographics, there's been no real change year on year in the spread across age. We had a slight increase in gender diversification amongst this year's respondents. and the proportion of women increased to 11% of total respondents, with no change for non-binary. Although 5% of the CTO ecosystem identifies women and our sample size is twice that at 11%, we still see this as a small sample size. And at Albany, we're dedicated to addressing this imbalance every single day. When we looked at employer demographics, unsurprisingly, we saw a proportional decrease in VC respondents and a slight increase in PE respondents. Moving on to archetypes. Within venture capital, we break down the CTO archetypes into three categories: early stage, growth stage, and scaling stage. So if we start with the early stage leadership archetype, this is a look at the average seed stage, which we included both CTO and VP of engineering compensation. Seed tends to be the Wild West in terms of title, compensation, and equity allocation. We see titles regularly overinflated at this stage. It's our view that a seed stage CTO, 9 times out of 10, has the same responsibilities of a seed stage VP of engineering. The exception is a co-founding CTO. Even if they aren't referred to as a founder, if they have a C-level title and were perhaps the third or fourth hire into the business, this often translates into quite a hefty equity package. So for this archetype, we've included those that hold both VP of engineering and C-suite titles to account for non-founding VPs that are employed to take on the role of a C-suite, but not necessarily given as a senior title at this stage of funding. We often define this individual as the builder CTO. Often the first engineer. They're hands-on in delivering the first product and establishing product market fit. In addition, they may be hiring a team from scratch or from a nascent position. Building high-performing teams may not be something this person's done previously. Looking at the compensation data in this category, there are marginal differences to base and bonus. 25% of respondents receiving a bonus in the survey data versus 37% within our Albany data. Within our roles, we do typically use bonuses as a means of closing candidates, so that may account for a slight increase there. Equity differences are relatively significant here, potentially skewed by the existence of CTO founders within the survey data for reasons I mentioned earlier. Moving on to the growth stage leadership archetype, the Series A and B CTO is the transition between product market fit and introducing and streamlining processes, scalability, and best practices to ensure that you're building a technology platform that enables and scales with a growing customer base. Within Albany, we see businesses raising a Series A as the most common trigger point for upgrading technology leadership. And at this stage, a CTO would be responsible for essentially putting order into a world of chaos. This person would need to build a more sophisticated technology strategy and roadmap to align with the commercial ambition of the business. From Series A to Series B, the key challenges revolve around maturing the technology organization to increase scalability, predictability, and reliability. So people-centric and operational, this growth stage archetype is well-rounded, bridging the gap between early stage and the scaling stage. Looking at the compensation data in this category, we fit the survey data around archetype and not stage to ensure that we have a large enough sample size to draw accurate conclusions. We have cut our Albany data by stage to give a sense of the differences between Series A and Series B compensation packages within the archetype. Moving on to the scaling stage leadership archetype. At later stages in the venture investment cycle, we see the commercial CTO emerge. This individual is board level, a motivator, a strategist, a brilliant communicator, and an attractor of talent. This archetype is great at bridging the gap between growth and exit. Looking at this data, you might think that if you use Albany, your equity is going to be worth 3 times more. And we'd love that to be true. But I should caveat that our benchmark looks at the last 12 months. Exactly 12 months ago, it was a very, very different landscape from today. And if we asked what our placements, long-term incentive components were worth today, in today's value, I would hazard a guess that this picture would look very close to the chart on the left. And placements completed since January 2024 at the scaling stage are within 10% of the survey data. In-person contacts correlate with the highest bonuses. Perhaps an incentive, as full-time office environments can be quite hard to hire into. Hybrid is the new norm, and anecdotally, it's what the majority of our candidates most prefer. From an Albany perspective, hiring into in-office environments is challenging and significantly impacts attractiveness and, in turn, the size of the candidate pool. I think out of the report, this is one of the most powerful slides. 41% of engineering leaders are looking to leave their role. The number one motivator, by far, is lack of faith in leadership. Culture, company performance, mission, and compensation are all important, but if there's one takeaway to leave with, that leadership has the biggest impact on the quality, output, and stability of your team. The pool of technology leaders looking to leave their roles receive higher base pay, earning approximately £34,000 more on average. Conversely, the pool of technology leaders looking to stay in their current role had 1.7 times the amount of equity as those who wish to leave. Although many technology leaders have experienced significant drops in the projected value of their equity, particularly in late-stage venture-backed contexts, the data is clear. Rewarding leaders with the opportunity to generate real long-term wealth is still a strong incentive for retention. This emphasizes the importance of equity and options when considering keeping your best talent. Additionally, long-term incentive plans must be coupled with a fundamental belief in leadership and the strategy set to achieve the projected exit. This is reflected in key finding 2 above. This finding was explored last year, and we found it to be consistent. In cash value, CTOs and VPs of engineering who identify as women receive significantly less equity than men. Our industry suffers from a leaky pipeline. The top of the talent funnel has a strong pipeline of women entering technology roles, but as their careers progress, we progressively lose them from the field due to structural barriers and gender-related biases. Why should you consider a multiple of base salary over a percentage ownership of a business? As a CTO, percentages don't tell you what you'll be walking away with as a result of all the value that you've been driving within the business. Additionally, discussing value of equity ensures you understand and buy into the different proposed outcomes in a conservative, mid, and best case exit scenario. So our outlook for the year ahead. Prevailing themes we're experiencing in today's market are shaping up our predictions for the next 12 months. Resiliency and rapid return of tech hiring within PE, particularly in European buyout stages in industries like data and services. Maturing of seed stage, greater funding at an earlier stage, and in sectors with longer investment cycles such as IoT and hardware. This means a mature seed stage business might look a lot like a Series A business. Green shoots within VC growth stage. As mentioned at the start, it has never been harder to raise a Series A than it is right now. As exit opportunities open up, this will change. Valuation reset. You would have seen the 2023-2024 differences, and that reset was overdue, and the net result is a healthier and more balanced ecosystem. So what about our outlook for the year? Long-awaited return of Series A and B, likely in H2 of this year. Doing more with less. The shift to scaling sustainably and on profitability over unfettered growth isn't going anywhere, even when the market fully recovers. In technology hiring, lower headcounts in engineering functions, leveraging of low-code tools, and a delayed need to bring in a CTO and a level above a VPE, all these changes are here to stay. Major equity opportunities to come. The reset doesn't mean less opportunities for CTOs to generate wealth. It's our view these reduced valuations, in the light of the market opening up, is where the real upside is. I want to say a massive thank you. A thank you to our partners at CTO Craft and to our CTO community. We are so grateful for the hundreds of people that invested their time and trusted us with their data. Without you all, this wouldn't be possible.